With AJAX, you're going to be spending a lot of time looking at your text editor. So if you don't already have a really good text editor, you're going to want one. So in this lesson, I want to talk some about why I use the text editor I use, how to find a good one, and what you're looking for in a text editor. If you're on a Mac, the two most popular ones that I've found are BBEdit and TextMate. I use BBEdit. You'll be seeing a lot of it. However, there are many people who just love TextMate and just can't imagine living without it. So both of them are perfectly good options. If you're on Windows, a couple of text editors that I've heard good things about and used a little bit are UltraEdit and eTextEditor. And for either platform, Mac or Windows, and Unix as well, there's also the Eclipse IDE and Komodo. That's both a Komodo Edit and Komodo IDE. And they'll work on any platform. All of these products are available just by downloading. Some of them are free, some of them are for pay, but you can get any of them online just by downloading them. Most of them you can test out if they aren't already free. And so you can make a good decision about which one works best for you. Here at barebones.com, you'll see that as of this recording, the most current version of BBEdit is 8.7. Next, TextMate is at macromates.com, and you can see the current version at this moment is 1.5.7. For those of you on Windows, you can check out UltraEdit, which right now is at version 13.20. For those still on Windows, there's the eTextEditor, which is similar to TextMate, but on Windows. So if you've been a Mac user, or you're both on Mac and Windows, and you find you really like TextMate, you might want to check out eTextEditor on Windows, because then you can use some of the same automation tools on both platforms. For both Mac and Windows, there's Komodo, which you can see here is at activestate.com/products/Komodo_IDE, and that's for IDE 4 right now. There's also Komodo Edit 4, which is the free version that has a little less functionality, but it might be all that you need. And lastly, there's eclipse.org, which is the home of the Eclipse Open Development Platform. And in some ways, it might be overkill for what you're trying to do with just HTML, JavaScript, CSS, XML. But it is free, and it is a full-featured development environment. Now I want to talk a little bit about what to look for in a text editor. Here's what I consider to be important when I'm editing and testing my code. Here I've got two files, an HTML file and a JavaScript file. And I'm going to open them in BBEdit. So now let's see a few of the things that I look for when using a text editor. So I'll select my HTML and JavaScript file and open them up. And you'll see first off that it opened them both in one window. One of the things I like about BBEdit is that it can open the documents in a single window, and then I can switch back and forth over here. But if I want them to open in separate windows, I can do that as well. Another feature, over here on the left, you'll see that there are line numbers, and this can help with debugging. For instance, if your debugger tells you that you have a problem on line 20, it's handy to be able to see immediately what's going on line 20. Another feature that you'll want in a text editor is line numbers. One of the main reasons that line numbers are handy is because a debugger will tell you, for instance, that you have a problem with line 5, and you want to be able to see at a glance what line 5 is and not have to go through and count 1, 2, 3, 4. With this, I can see that this is line 5, and I'll know immediately where the problem is. Other important features that you can see, for instance, BBEdit has syntax coloring. I can differentiate at a glance what my tags are, what my strings are, what my attributes are, and it makes it very easy to be able to figure out if there's a problem. For instance, if I've left off a quote somewhere, you can immediately see that things are just the wrong color. Another important feature is syntax coloring. The reason why this matters is because it can tell you at a glance if you have a problem. Right now you can see, for instance, that my tags are colored blue, Links are colored in red. Attributes are in pink. Their values are in brown. If, for example, I'm missing a closing quote, you can see immediately that there's a problem because all of a sudden this href is the wrong color. And then I know that something's odd, and I can just see that because of the color, which helps me track down all kinds of issues before they actually become problems. Now, if we switch over to our JavaScript file here, and I can do that just by clicking on the script.js file, BBEdit helps you write code in a number of different ways. For instance, you can see that the word function here is in blue. That lets me know that I'm working on a function, and BBEdit just knows that certain keywords such as function, var, else, if, and so on are to be done in blue. And then I can see again at a glance that there's a problem. Another useful feature is balancing. You can see here I have the cursor just after an open brace, and I can go to the View menu and say Balance, and it will then show me where the end of that function is, where the matching brace is to that opening brace. You can see now that BBEdit has highlighted that area, so I can see exactly what is in that function and what is not. Once I have this highlighted, I can go back up to the View menu and I can say fold the selection. Now, folding is a useful feature where the text editor just hides the code from you. It hasn't disappeared, it hasn't gone away, and you can tell right now that something is there because you've got this ellipsis, the 3 dots there. And now if I scroll up to the top, everything that isn't in that function is showing. That function is there, it's just hidden, and you know it's there and hidden, actually not just because of the dots, but also because there are missing line numbers. You can see that we skip straight from line 8 to line 31. That's because that code is folded, it's hidden. And it's a handy way to look through a whole lot of code at once, because you can hide, say, the parts of the code where you know things are fine and not have to keep jumping back and forth between 2 or 3 different areas. You can see all of it that you want to see at one time. And then when you want to see it again, you just double-click on the ellipsis, and it opens up again. Another useful feature, if you have, say, a very long file, is the ability to jump back and forth between different functions. In this menu, I can see right now I'm in the make request function. I want to jump down to the show contents function. I just select it here, and boom, I've scrolled all the way down to the end and the last function. And that lets me move around quickly inside my file. These are just a few of the things that I think are important about a text editor. You may have your own list. In fact, you probably do. You're going to want to find one that helps you work in the cleanest and simplest way, that stays out of your way when you want it to and helps you when you want it to. Next up, we're going to talk about browsers, and in particular Firefox.